Ladies and gentlemen, Duckville here. Welcome to another Heart of the Swarm replay cast. We've got a Terran vs. Zerg coming at you right now. Down at the bottom left-hand side of Whirlwind is our red Terran player. Currently playing for Team MYM Academy, I believe it is. It is Dragon. Of course, very commonly streaming player who does some shenanigans every now and then. Reddit is in love with him. There's always a post about Dragon up on the SC Reddit every now and then. And as we can see, he's going to be up against a Zerg player down the bottom right-hand side as our blue player, currently playing for Team Root. It is ZvT. And as we can see here, he's just talking about how he's been doing a lot of training on the Korean server, despite the lag. I'm not sure what the lag is like from the US to Korea. I would imagine it's sort of a little bit similar, like Australia to the NA server. I'm not really sure, but something like that. Anyway, so everyone knows ZvT, of course, winner of the USA WCS event last year, doing an excellent job with that. Came second to Scarlet in the overall North America WCS event. Very impressive job by him. And we can see that, yeah, he's just talking about how training on the Korean server makes him a little bit better than it would if he was training on the NA server. I'll be interested to see how both of these guys play. Of course, Dragon, well known for being a little bit unorthodox every now and then with some of the things that he does. Of course, not known for being a player who is dominating all the GSLs and the MLGs and all these cool things. He's very much more known for being a little bit of a clown on his stream, doing some fun things against a little bit lower skilled people, those sorts of things. But he certainly does have the goods when it comes to high-level play. Of course, being an excellent Korean Terran player. So we'll see how ZvT is going to deal with him today. Of course, the very common ways that Terrans like to play out this matchup. A bit of a quick Reaper at the start from time to time. You can also see them opening up with a reasonably quick expansion as well. Some people still like to do the old school, the one racks expand, and I think that is what we are going to see out of Dragon here. As you can see, no gas taken inside the main, so it looks as if he is going to go for just a very simple one racks expand. Meanwhile for ZvT, I should say, he's picking up just a whole bunch of drones. We've got the spawning pool on the way. No gas at the moment, just simply because he has scouted out that his opponent does not have any gas, so there's no real threat of things like Reapers coming out at the start. So ZvT playing a very, just reacting quite nicely there, just detecting what's going on and then just saying, alright, well, no need to worry about that at the start. He may even look to take a third base at a reasonably fast pace. We'll keep an eye on how he goes with that. For Dragon, he's going to scout through. Going to see that there's no gas. Of course, he wants to check if there is anything going on at either of these geysers. If you do see some gas coming out, you've also got to keep an eye on how much gas is being taken out of those extractors so that you can be aware of if there is something roachy, if there is something baneling-y coming along. Just so that you can get set with the adequate defenses for that. But for the moment, it looks as if Dragon going to get out a couple of Marines. We've also got a lot of minerals here. Yeah, he's going to throw down a quick third command center here, so not even bothering with going up to a factory at all. He's just going to get a couple of Marines out, cease at his opponent, doesn't have gas, so he's not necessarily going to have the ability to put any pressure on. That is ZvT we're talking about. He's not necessarily going to have the options for putting pressure on, such as some quick speedlings or anything like that. So Dragon appropriately throws down a quick command center. We'll probably see the gas, yeah, the gas now coming out. 1 and 2 inside the main, 3 and 4 down at the natural. Will obviously be a little bit further away, but we'll find out what the exact plan from Dragon is going to be. Whether he's going to just keep this command center here to pump up the SCV count inside the natural and the main, or whether he is going to try and really quickly take a third base. And the interesting question will be, is it going to be this base here, or is he going to look towards the top end here where we've got another possible option? For our Zerg player, ZvT is going to be looking to take his third base probably reasonably soon, I would assume. His options obviously include the base up towards the top side here. We've got, you can pick up this base, and I would assume that's what he wants to go for. This base here is perhaps not the best idea, just because it is sort of heading towards your opponent. You then actually open up options for a Terran to try and drop into the back of the mineral line there. Whereas if you expand this way, just back across the map, and if you look on the minimap as to what I'm talking about, if you expand back this way, it's a lot safer because the Terran has to push across the map to actually get any damage done at those satellite bases, or they have to do a lot of drop work. So we'll keep an eye on where Vibe is going to go with his expansions. He's going to throw down that Roach Warren there, get some little bit of tech up and running now that his economy is sitting in a decent state. We'll probably see that third hatchery go down pretty quickly now as well. We do have some creep spread moving out, which is always good to see. Trying to make sure all of his bases are linked up. Vibe, I think, from what I remember last time I saw Vibe playing, he does actually have some really good creep spreads, so we'll be looking out for that kind of thing from him. Dragon throws down gas number 3. We'll be bringing in a little bit more gas very soon. His factory now up and running. A couple of Hellions about to pop out. Starport on the way, along with a tech lab. A lot of the players that play on NA and a lot of the NA Terrans and these kinds of things have been favouring Hellbat drops and just a lot of Hellbat pressure. If you watched Stefano versus FXO's Neeb, which is a cast that I just put up recently, you'll see that that kind of play with very heavy Hellbat dropping is a very common thing to see on the NA server, I've been told. But well, it looks as if Dragon is not going to go in that direction here. He's going to go up to get that first Viking out, going to try and find any of those stray Overlords around the map, trying to limit the vision of his opponent here. If he can take down this one, that's pretty big, because this Overlord can scout out when the Terran is actually moving across the map here. As you can see, that sort of pathway is in vision here, and most of this path here as well is also available for that Overlord to see. We've got another one just across to the side that's keeping an eye on the possible 3rd or 4th base up towards the top end here, but Dragon pushing out with a few Hellions now. He's got 6 in total that are just moving about the map. They're going to try and get some map dominance, but the Roaches, 12 Roaches, were built by Vibe, and they've actually just wandered their way straight across the map. We're going to have a little bit of a weird situation here where Dragon's going to be able to get inside and get a little bit of damage done. May take out a Queen at a minimum. I don't necessarily, with Roaches now popping out, I don't think that he's going to be able to get any drone kills, but a Queen's not too bad, not a bad start to the opening part of the game, and Vibe going to lose an Overlord, but he will be able to push inside, and we'll see how much damage he can get done here, because Dragon, completely unprepared, brings the SCVs across. He's going to lose that bunker. I don't think that's going to stay alive much too longer. The Overseer here to help out with any possible mines that might be there, but the SCVs come to the front, just trying to tank up the Roaches, just trying to hold them there. Wow, look at all those bits of the SCVs just falling down the ramp. That's pretty crazy. I've never really seen that before. But the Roaches coming across, trying to get some damage done, take out an innumerable amount of SCVs. 32 SCVs have been killed off. Mules and more SCVs continuing to go down. Vibe catching his opponent out, completely unprepared right here. And while there is a single Banshee up in the sky there, it's a very, very slow task for a Banshee to try and take down all of these Roaches that are here. Dragon gets a couple of Widow Mines in position here, takes out a lot of those Roaches, and only one is left over. And, well, I suppose you may want to call that a successful attack for our Zerg player here from Root Gaming. Getting a huge amount of worker kills. 38 worker kills have been picked up by Vibe. He's going to be extremely happy with that. Puts him in a situation of almost 70 drones against 29. That is the position we're in right now in this game. An incredible bust there from Vibe to get a huge amount of damage done. He's going to throw down some Spore Crawlers inside his bases just to make sure that he is protected against those Banshees that might come along. He's also taken that 3rd across here and a 4th up towards the top end, the middle side of the map. So Vibe has been able to take a really, really good economic lead here in the game. We'll see how he's going to try and further boost that along. Obviously, he's wanting to get out a few more drones, probably take that up to around about, so he's at the 75 right now, may try and look towards 80 in a short time as well, but for the moment he will need to defend against this push now coming along. Well, not necessarily a massive amount of units right here. If the Widow Mines get some good shots off, if the Banshees can stay alive a little bit longer, then this attack could get a little bit of damage done. So Dragon just trying to look to counter his opponent, trying to keep him back inside his main base here, but with the Overseer coming along to help out with the detection of those Widow Mines, the Hydras are able to take them down and force the Widow Mines back. So Dragon is forced to head back home just for the moment here. He's got a single tank out, and we'll probably see some of these, well, he's just sort of struggling for the minerals right now. That is a big issue he's got. While he does have quite a few mules that he can drop down, and he did have triple orbital command that he can bring out all those extra SCVs, the fact of the matter is that for like two or three minutes there, he was really struggling to actually get some economy coming in, and now he's finally starting to recover that count. He's up to 47 SCVs right now, but VvIBE now pushing in again. Not too sure about this attack. I think he's just wanting to try and occupy his opponent, trying to downsize some of this army. While back at home, VvIBE gets his tech prepared. We've got 17 more Hydras being built. Muscular Augments on the way, Infestation Pit, and you can expect that the Hive will come along very, very quickly after this as well, because Hive is where things start to get a little bit messy for Terrans, especially if they're as far behind as Dragon is right now. So the creep tumor, something else which we alluded to before. VvIBE, very, very good with his creep spread here. Has now got it through the center of the map, is across the Zelnaga Watchtower as well. Is just going to want to start spreading that in all directions, like now, like a little bit of an octopus, just sort of spreading it in all different directions at once. His drone count now up to, it's sitting at 70, so he's dropped down a couple as he does need to get a few more buildings up and running, but now going to add in some swarm hosts, and does have a few more drones just popping out. Takes it to a total of 79, but as I was saying, swarm hosts. We've got an infestation pit researching the enduring locust. We've also got the hive tech now on the way for VvIBE right now, and Dragon just doing his best. Actually, whoops, we'll go back there. Dragon doing his best to try and keep this creep spread back. He does need this third base. Of course, this is an extremely late third base right now. 15 minutes into the game, he's finally gotten that up and running. But with some widow mines, with perhaps a few tanks as well, he might be able to keep the general sections of the map, you know, in his control here. What he's looking to do is just try and keep control of these sorts of areas with the tanks. If he can stop the Hydras from pushing into the natural, if he can stop them pushing into the third base here as well, then he can get his economy established and perhaps buy his way back into the game. But the big issue that he's going to have is that VvIBE is already so far ahead right now. He's got all of this creep spread through the middle section of the map, all this vision as well. He can tell where the Terran is coming from, and while Dragon is starting to cut down on the creep spread through his side of the map, the sphere of influence for Dragon is very, very small right now. If we look on the minimap right now, I'll sort of draw what I'm sort of pointing to. Oops, there we go. We've sort of got, this is the sort of area that Dragon can operate in. Of course, we do have, as you can see, a dropship now just pushing out. But this this sphere of influence that he has through the bottom left-hand side of the map is starting to get very limited. And I think that it is going to get even more limited now with these swarm hosts. Just pushing across some of these locusts coming about, trying to get some damage done. Dragon forcing VvIBE to reposition, and as we can see, that medevac is about to get close to his opponent's side of the map. What? Are you serious? This... like Changeling almost scouting out that medevac there. Really interesting to see that move across. But Dragon slowly making his way forward here. He's being very, very careful. Got the Widow Mines at the back to protect a possible flanking attack here. The tanks slowly making their way across, and Dragon is he's actually going for a very high tank count. This is really interesting to see that he has added in so many tanks. We've currently got a total of 6 tanks out of the map, 2 popping out at a time, and this is a really interesting way to react to what his opponent is doing. VvIBE has invested quite a lot in these Hydras here, and it looks as if we will have a drop attack inside the natural base. The medevac's not surviving too long. In fact, that entire drop not actually going along too well there. Dragon tries to target down some of the drones, gets a total of 8, not a massive amount, but his opponent will still be comfortable on a total of 68, but Dragon slowly starting to work his way back into this game. He does need to look towards getting a 4th base up and running, but I do like this decision to go into a heavy tank count right now. The large amount of tanks means that he is going to be able to control a lot of space. He's going to be able to force back some of these swarm host locusts as well. And also, of course, the tanks do a great job against Hydras. Hydras relatively, you know, very sort of fragile units when there are a lot of tanks out. So, as you can see, with the Swarm Host Hydra composition, tanks are a great choice. If you had a lot of Widow Mines out, the Widow Mines could sure do an excellent job against the Hydras, just if they were by themselves, but with the Swarm Hosts added in, these Swarm Host Locusts are going to be soaking up quite a lot of those, the Widow Mine shots, which is why I think we do see Dragon reacting and switching into a much more Wings of Liberty old school style marine tank composition here, and with the tank count starting to head up to a ridiculous count right now. We're now up to a total of 10 tanks with 2 more still popping out at a time. VvIBE is going to be a little bit careful here. He doesn't want to move out of position, doesn't want to get cut off by any of these units here, and speaking of being cut off, Dragon now in the center section has a very difficult time trying to get some of his units into position here, but the Viper's coming along, throwing down a couple of blinding clouds, trying to keep those tanks out of the battle, and Dragon has been able to clear out the creep in the middle of the map here, and this is a really good response to what his opponent is doing. So we'll see how ZvT is going to switch things up if indeed he is going to, but what he will have is a powerful economy behind all of this. 3,000 minerals back at home, 2,000 gas for our Zerg player here. ZvT is just in a very strong position right now, as he will lose some of these Hydras to the various tank shots and these kinds of things. If he can keep these bases across to the right-hand side of the map up and running, then he'll be able to just constantly resupply. No big deal to try and resupply these Hydras and all these things, because, you know, when you've got an economy that is looking like this, ZvT is going to be very happy with the spot that he's in. So Dragon has slowly been able to make his way out across the map, which means that he can look to take his 4th base, and here we will see the Vipers come along, throw down a few blinding clouds on top of the tanks. Very nicely done. Abduct underneath the blinding clouds. Excellent play there by ZvT. Able to take the tank count to just a measly 6 compared to what it was before, which was around about 15 or 16. So ZvT able to keep his top base alive. That is the 5th base up and running here for him. If he gets that extra gas incoming, then ZvT is just going to be in a beautiful position right now. Our Zerg player will be looking to just try and capitalize on that very soon. Of course, probably looking towards the Ultra Tech. We do have that +1 to Carapace on the way. Would not be surprised if there is an Ultra Den started out very soon. In fact, did I see that? No Ultra Den, but I'm sure he'll probably look towards that very soon. While this composition here is very good at delaying your opponent, keeping them back, maybe even slow sieging up a base, as we can see here, it won't necessarily have the greatest of times trying to push into a large marine tank composition. So we'll see that higher tech come out from ZvT very soon. I would expect that to be coming up in a moment here. Vipers are out. Of course, we will have that extra gas coming in from the top side here. There will be a drop from Dragon. It looks as if he is going to try and make his way in towards the 5th base here, but ZvT, I think, must have seen that. Yeah, I think this Creep Tumor, or perhaps the Overlord up the top left-hand side, would have seen that, but ZvT actually loses a couple of Vipers there. Not the best of engagement there for him, but the Hydras do come forward and are able to clean up that attack. So ZvT controlling the map very well here. Despite the fact that his Creep Tumors have been cleaned up, he's still got a little bit of vision towards the top side here, and that allows him to see these drops coming through. But Dragon, he's starting to move out a little bit more. We've got some upgrades coming along for him. +1 on the weapons there, +3 weapons for the infantry units now about to come out, along with +2 on their armor. Very slow with the upgrades here, of course, because he did have a very detrimental start to the game there. But ZvT now is going to push in here. A little bit too many tanks to try and assault that force there, so ZvT forced to push back for the moment, waiting for some more locusts to pop out of those swarm hosts, and Dragon will wisely pull back for the moment. I don't think it's in his best interest to try and stay here and engage that. He will look to try and attack the top base here, getting some damage done on those spine crawlers. Nicely done. He's able to take them down with those marines while he engages the main force in the middle of the map. Sieging up, perhaps not the best idea. ZvT going to be able to win this battle, and it looks as if he will force Dragon back. And now back at home, we can see the Ultralisk Cavern is now going to come into effect with the +2 to Carapace on the way, +1 to melee attacks. Of course, a little bit behind because ZvT has been investing in those Hydras and the Vipers and those sorts of things through the mid game, but he has been able to hold up his opponent till he can get into a position where he's got lots of gas coming in. These Marines are going to have something to say about that, but Dragon doing a great job here. Is that Spore Crawler going to burrow in time? Oh my, yes it is. Takes down that medevac. Very interesting play there from ZvT, but he was able to take care of that medevac. Slow links at the 25-minute mark now coming out from ZvT. Looks like he will be able to whoop. One last Marine is left over at this base, but ZvT is caught out in the middle of the map here. A scan going down. Some of these Marines stemming up, chasing after those swarm hosts there. The swarm host count now just down to the 14. It was a little bit higher than that before, but as we can see, Hydras, and it looks like, yeah, just the Hydras up towards the 4th base have been able to come through and try and dispose of that orbital command, and did not take it down in the end. But ZvT has done a lot of damage here, delaying the economy of his opponent. We can see that Swarm Host now moving into position. They're going to burrow, rally in towards the 3rd base, and if this 3rd base goes down, I would say this game is pretty much over, because as you can see on the production tab, 7 Ultras, Chitinous Plating, +1 weapons about to complete, and +2 Carapace about to complete. And regardless of those upgrades, a composition of these Swarm Hosts, the few Vipers that are out as well, And alongside those big boy ultras, we will see ZvT probably look to try and push in against his opponent Dragon, looking to hold up ZvT a little bit further. His economy starting to struggle now with the third base gone, with the fourth base barely mining until right about now. ZvT is going to he's going to lose this base up towards the top right hand side, but I would suspect that ZvT is going to try and throw down some random proxy hatcheries now round about now. But here we go, it looks like the Ultra's getting a little bit gung-ho for a moment there. There are still 12 Ultras out of the map right now. Their upgrades, as we said before, still a little bit further behind where you would normally see them at this point, but ZvT has such control over this game right now with an 8,000, 5,000 bank. He is going to lose his base, which will be a little bit unfortunate, but now, as we can see, Ultras, Vipers, and Swarm Hosts going to be the big composition here from ZvT. Looks like he's going to come across to try and defend this base. Nicely timed maneuvers of those Swarm Hosts, and now Dragon going to be forced to come back right now. His fourth base gone. The Ultras just chewing through everything here with a few blinding clouds, perhaps even some abducts on some of these last remaining units. ZvT is just going to be able to easily dispose of this attack right now. And Dragon going to do what he can here up at the fourth base towards the top right hand middle side. The Swarm Host going to bring out some Locusts, trying to do what they can to defend against this, and it looks like they will buy some time, because across the left hand side we can see that the Ultras are now moving into position. The Viper's probably going to, wow, he could probably just throw down one. Oh, no, he doesn't even throw it out. There it is. Throws down a couple of those blinding clouds, able to keep the tanks out of the battle, and the Ultras just chomping through everything there. The Medivacs forced to lift up and retreat as quickly as possible, because these Ultras are now in control of the game right now. +3 to Carapace on the way, 2 on melee attacks coming through, and ZvT is going to be able to establish. If I was ZvT right now, I'd just start throwing down hatcheries all over the map. There's no real need to be subtle about it. Just try and take bases wherever you can, because his opponent is in such an awkward position right now. ZvT is probably about to just roll through and just steamroll his opponent here in the natural base. There is basically no defense at all. A few units across to the right, the Ultras detect them. Swarm Host Locust coming in from the side, blinding cloud down at the back there, keeping the units out of the battle for a moment. Dragon doing his best to try and micro back and forth, does keep them alive for a little bit longer, and the Swarm Host, the Ultralist count drops down to just a total of 8 right now, and ZvT loses the hatchery across to the right middle side, but I think the damage has been done. Swarm Host moving into position just outside the natural base of Dragon, and once he gets inside that main base, I don't think there is any hope for for Dragon at all. He's trying to produce as many units as he can. He has taken a hidden base up towards the top side, and ZvT not aware of this base, but I think ZvT is suspecting that it's actually across in yeah, he thinks that it's over there, but it is actually just above him right now. But either way, ZvT in a wonderful position right now. He's got a new base up towards the 12 o'clock position. He's restarting that 3 o'clock base across to the side as well, and has also taken the 6 just down towards the southern end here. That is going to be in a little bit of trouble though. Some Marauders and Marines going to drop in for Dragon here. Going to see if he can pick off that base. He certainly should be able to. I don't think there's any way that ZvT can save this. The Infestors are now coming along. Interesting to see those little sluggy guys coming along. They're going to throw down a couple of Fungals. In fact, he should be able to kill off these forces before they can get too much damage done. But now, ZvT has detected that the base is up here. He's going to send in those Locusts there. They're going to lay waste to this building. I don't think that Orbital Command is going to survive. He's just going to target it down. Bam. There you go. Good night, Orbital Command. Just a quick little target down from those Locusts there. And SCVs just falling apart right now, while ZvT's economy has been brought to a halt as well. 17 drones in total up for him. But the fact of the matter is, there is a grand total of 13 Swarm Hosts, 8 Ultras, and 9 Infestors alongside the supporting cast of 3 Vipers here. So ZvT should just be able to just walk in here. I don't really think there's any way the Dragon's going to be able to defend this. Perhaps if he can get some good positioning here, he might be able to save the day. But with the free units coming out of the Swarm Host there for ZvT, we'll probably see some blinding clouds coming along as well. The Ultras just going to charge their way forward. Infestors probably going to throw forward some infested Terrans, maybe some fungal growths as well. Or they're just going to sit off to the side here. Alright, well, ZvT a little bit of a misstep there from our Zerg player, but he is going to lose the majority of those Infestors there. But with the Swarm Host ready to go, throwing down some more Locusts here, I think that is going to be it. abducting some of those tanks, losing them to the Swarm host. The Ultras now free to move in. There are 5 tanks at the backside, 6 tanks, sorry, at the back end of the attack, but Vibe has so many Ultras, 16 Ultras now with their 5-2 upgrades. +3 is not on the way, but it doesn't really matter at this point. Vibe is going to win this game. Dragon down to 58 supply, and I suspect you would see a GG in a second. So the very early Roach attack, the 12 Roaches that came through from Vibe, just getting so much damage done. I think we saw 32 worker kills at the start from Vibe there. So the total worker kills 106 by Vibe, 50 by Dragon. And despite what looked to be a pretty decent comeback from Dragon, he is just unable to keep up with that macro-based play from Vibe, able to get 4 and 5 bases up and running. We'll see the Ultras just barge their way through the front door, and, well, Vibe just sort of going to have to bide his time for the moment. But the Swarm host going to come through, throw down a few more Locusts, and these last remaining units going to fall down. And that's probably going to be it for Dragon very soon, but in true Korean Terran style, he's going to try and make the best of a bad situation here, trying to use up some of those units, a few ducks there, and there is a GG. So Dragon taps out of this interesting Zerg versus Terran match. We obviously saw that very heavy damage from Vibe at the start, able to just take control of the game from there and macro his way to victory. Make sure you subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Leave some comments and feedback on what you would like to see coming up on the channel. Also the UI. If you like the UI, let me know. If you don't like it, tell me what you would like to see. I am trying to customize these kinds of things. So hope to see you all next time, and I'll catch you all later. Going on there, a la Grubby or someone like that, and it looks as if Neeb is just going to get a really nice amount of damage done there inside the main, picking off the Lings. Not necessarily economic damage in of itself, but he is able to just downsize the amount of map presence